we will continue again with what we were discussing earlier, which is unlocking your potential. We will just do a quick recap of some of the things we spoke about. It's a part of the Power to Personal Achievement series. So there are many more to come. It's a training, an elaborate training over 3 days by Brian Tracy. I happened to come across this series on YouTube. So we initially looked at this formula for individual human potential. We said that individual human potential is a combination of IA, which is inborn attributes, plus you add to it acquired attributes multiplied by attitude. So this, now the interesting thing is that this inborn attitude, attributes are largely fixed because it is genetic, it is what you are born with. Okay, there may be some minor changes we can do there. The acquired attributes are things we learn over time and it changes very slowly. But what can change dramatically is our attitude. This attitude of ours is something that is completely in our control, and if we decide, we can change it in one instant. Okay, then we looked at this whole thing about self-concept. So how attitude leads to the expectations that we have about ourselves and about people around us, how we look at what we want from others and all that, which in turn leads to our beliefs and values, and that in turn is depending on what self-concept we hold inside us. Okay, so there is this thing that we call a self-concept. What we will look at it. It's got three other components. We will look at that. We've already looked at it. We will just quickly recap it. So the point is that you cannot act inconsistent with your self-concept. So you have to be aligned to it. So therefore, it is more important to look at what our self-concept is and change our self-concept. So the related thing is that you cannot act outside different from how you are inside. The way you are inside, the way you are experiencing life inside is the way it will express itself outside of you. Okay, if we try to be outside different from how we are inside, the values that we hold inside, then there will be serious lot of stress, there will be a lot of problems and agony that we will go through. So therefore remember that our self-concept precedes and predicts our performance and effectiveness. So what we are seeing as happening on a day-to-day basis in various areas of our lives in the outside world is actually a reflection of our self-concept. And that is the reason why it is so important that we should first become aware of our self-concept and look at how to make it effective. So one of the next thing that we looked at is that our actual potential for effectiveness is so much. There is a wide spectrum for our potential for effectiveness. But practically speaking, most of us, or almost all of us, are operating somewhere between 2 to 10% of our potential. And this potential for effectiveness is coming out of the self-concept that we hold. Now, this self-concept is actually a combination of what we called micro or mini self-concepts. That is, different areas of our lives, we have self-concept for each area. For example, we will have a self-concept of how we can drive. We'll have a self-concept about how we look at money. We have a self-concept about how good a parent we are, etc., etc. Every area of life that is important to you, there is a self-concept. That means how you think you are is there. Now, the interesting thing that we looked at is that there is a bandwidth within which, let us say, this is one particular self-concept. Let us say this is about how good a parent I am. Okay. And your self-concept level is over here. Now, there is a bandwidth within which we can operate. That means you can go lower or you can go higher. And this bandwidth, they say, is around 10% plus 10% minus. We can only operate within this 10% plus minus 10%. And that is our comfort zone. The moment we cross this, okay, so this is the comfort zone for each mini self-concept. The moment you cross this, there is so much of disturbance that we experience internally that we will somehow desperately struggle to get back into this comfort zone. Okay, this is one thing that we looked at. The second thing that we looked at is that our self-concept, the overall self-concept is an average of all these various self-concepts we have about ourselves. We have multiple self-concepts. So the average of all that is the overall self-concept. Okay. Now, this self-concept that we are talking about is actually having three subcomponents. These, as we looked at, were we have something called a self-ideal. There is an ideal that we have, we look up to certain people, and that the certain quality, we say that, certain kind of perfection, certain things that we look up to in people. And that is the ideal that we hold for ourselves. We are trying to reach that kind of ideal. Then we hold something we call a self-image, our image about ourselves, what we think about ourselves or how we feel about ourselves. And the third, which is extremely important, is our self-esteem. Today, we are going to delve deeper into this whole space of self-esteem, okay, and see where it is coming from. So, your self-esteem is how you feel about yourself. The best definition is how much you like yourself. That is a very, very simple way of looking at your self-esteem. So, it is like the reputation that you have acquired with yourself. Our reputation with ourselves is our self-esteem. This is what Nathaniel Branden, an author who has researched at length about self-esteem and has written a few books. One of the books is Six Pillars of Self-Esteem. This is what he had to say. Self-esteem is the reputation that we acquire with ourselves. So self-esteem, now the thing is that, many of us, we have a low self-esteem. Okay. But the interesting thing is that self-esteem can be built up by reinforcing and repeating positive, reinforcement. For example, you can keep, Brian Tracy specifically recommends this particular statement. I like myself. I like myself. I like myself. So he recommends using this statement. Okay. Now remember that this self-esteem is the determinant of your success and happiness in life. So it is very, very important to recognize this self-esteem, recognize where we are, and look at what we can do to build it up, which is what we are looking at. So the more you like yourself, the more you are able to really fall in love with yourself, your overall self-concepts improve. On all areas, you will find that you will feel much better, you'll feel much more confident. So many things will start changing. You will start performing better in every area of your life. Okay. And the related thing that also starts happening is that when your self-concept improves, you also start liking others. You also start feeling comfortable with others. You stop worrying about what are they thinking about me. And overall, you will become much, much happier. Okay. Now we are going to look at something very interesting. For me, whatever I'm going to, a set of slides that we are going to look at now, it was extremely eye-opening for me, extremely. Okay. And I hope you also find it really insightful. Now, the point we are making is we are making a statement that we are all born. When we are born as pure potential. Okay. A child who comes into this world, you just imagine that just there's a baby who's born. That baby, what that baby needs is love and touch. Okay. This is something that the baby really wants. And the more of it that we are able to give, the more. So, therefore, they say that a parent or adults who hugging, touching, talking to the child is extremely essential. Okay. And therefore, we have a very big responsibility as parents in the initial years of the child, the 3 to 5 years. And this 3 to 5 years, the initial years, is where the solid self concept of the child can be built like concrete. And we are going to look at this many mistakes that many parents make with their children in damaging this particular thing and not utilizing this particular possibility. So the solid self concept, what you need to build is that they are good, desirable, attractive, and they are in a safe world. You imagine how important it is for a very, very young baby to very young children to continuously keep experiencing this, that they are good, they are desirable, they are attractive, and they are in a safe world. And remember that there is no such thing as too much love. There are some people who have this point of view that, oh, if you give too much of this kind of what they call as attention, or love to the child, then the child will become very demanding. The child will become there are these notions that people have, which is completely off. Really, it's completely off. For very, very young children, their whole, we will look at it. What drives them, what motivates them is completely something else. Okay. So therefore, it is very important that we lavish our love on babies and young children. Okay. Now, a solid self-concept, if we create a solid self-concept for a child right in that childhood years, later in life, they will have no deficiency needs. They will not have this thing that, oh, people don't like me. Do they, every time you're doubting whether you're trying to seek other people's approval and all that those problems will not be there. They will be extremely self-confident, and they will have an extremely high self-esteem and very positive self-image if we do the right things in childhood. Unfortunately, the fact is that most adults spend their adult life trying to compensate for the deficiencies that they have experienced as a child. Okay. If you really look back at so many of the things that we are struggling with in our life on a day-to-day basis, things where you feel you are not confident, or where you feel that you are seeking attention of other people, is all because there were certain things that were deficient in our childhood, unfortunately, and we are trying to compensate for that now as an adult. For example, seeking the approval of others. You're not able to take a decision by yourself. You are not able to be your natural self. You can only be how others, you want to look good in other people's eyes. This is one of the things that we are trying to compensate for a deficiency that we have experienced as a child. So, adults, many of us adults are actually constantly insecure, unfortunately. Okay. Now, if you look at babies just fear two things. They just fear loud noise, and they fear falling. Okay. These are just two things that they fear. Okay. Other than that, children are absolutely fearless. I mean, I want you to just look at your own experience of being with your children or with somebody else's children, right? Just imagine how fearless they are. They have no concept of something can be unsafe or dangerous and all that. They are willing to go and test and try just about anything. Not only test, try, it is like they will take it, they will put it to their mouth, taste it. They will do all kinds of things. The attitude of a child is, I can. I want you to kind of look back and see how that child, okay, that baby who is in that I can attitude, right now we have come to a point where we are continuously saying, I can't do this, I can't do this, right? So the child's attitude is, I can. They are so fearless to do and try anything, really anything. Even a knife, they will just take and play with it because they have no idea. They do not know enough to be afraid. So and that is one quality that children have. Okay, that they are fearless. The second quality they have is that they are spontaneous. Just think of it. The child does not have this, I don't. The child has this attitude that I don't have to be any which way. They can do whatever they like, and they don't, stop themselves. They don't try to look good. They will laugh. They will cry. They will, urinate. They will shit. They will do whatever they like, and they don't hold themselves back in this. They will just do it. That's it, right? Just look back. These are two qualities that the children have, that they are fearless and they are extremely spontaneous. And remember, our natural birthright is to be like this, unafraid and uninhibited. This is what the way we should have been. But unfortunately, because of certain things that have happened along the way, we have lost this quality. And today, so many of the things that you're facing in your life, on our day-to-day basis, and this is also, I mean, we are talking all this in the context of our business opportunity, but I'm saying not only in this space, in every space in our life, these are things that hold us back, that we are afraid to do things. We are not spontaneous. We hold ourselves back. Just look at it. Just think back and look at it. So now I just look at it. When do you feel most in control? I want you to think of yourself when do you feel most in control? Would you agree with me if I say that you feel most in control if you are completely unafraid, okay, and you're completely spontaneous? That means nothing. You can just feel free to do whatever you feel like, okay, and you can be without any fear. You can just go ahead with life. Would you agree with me if I said that this is the situation in which we will feel most in control of our life? And if today we feel that in multiple areas of our life we don't feel we are in control, this is because these two qualities are missing in our life. And so let us look at this in more depth. So now, how does a child learn? There are two ways that a child learns. One is the child learns from imitation. Okay. Remember that parents, first, first and foremost are parents who are the, what shall I say, what we can call it a role model. So children learn from parents, and typically they say that girls imitate their mothers and boys imitate their fathers. So, for example, a girl will grow up feeling that she lives in an orderly world by looking at the mother. Okay. And if she'll experience that it is orderly, if the mother is on top of things, she's calm, she's in charge, if the mother's life is overall, beautifully in control, then the child will grow up feeling, yes, the world is a safe and wonderful place to be. Everything is in order. And so the child will grow up feeling secure, right? But if the mother is experiencing a lot of harassment, she's continuously angry, she's upset, and all these things are ongoingly it is going on, the child will grow up feeling that the world is a very disorderly place. It's a very unsafe place, right? The child will grow up feeling insecure. So remember that the child learns by imitation. One. Now, see, as adults, just think of it. We are continuously trying to move from pain to pleasure, right? We are trying to compensate whatever deficiency we have. We are somehow trying to compensate it, and we want to get into what we call the comfort zone, right? Now, the catch is that whatever deficiency that we are experiencing in our life, unfortunately, becomes our preoccupation. That we are continuously trying to compensate for this deficiency simply because we have unfortunately experienced the deficiency continuously right from childhood. So it could be like, your deficiency is peace of mind. So you're trying to continuously move towards peace of mind. Or the deficiency could be money, or, experience of lack of finances. So you're then trying to move towards financial freedom. Or if it is relationships that have been lacking in your life, then that is a deficiency. Then you're desperately seeking loving relationships, right? But whatever is the deficiency becomes a preoccupation for us. Now, the second thing, so you remember we said that the child learns in two ways. The child also is continuously moving from discomfort to comfort. Okay. The child tries to move from a lack of love to love. The child tries to move from a fear of criticism to wanting and want to be accepted. You just think of it. That see, we are trying to, we'll just look at it. We unfortunately tend to use this whole thing about punishment and harsh words and all that, and we think that we are teaching the child. But effectively, what the child is learning is he's just trying to do two things. He or she is just trying to move from lack of love to love. They just want to be loved and accepted, and they are fearing criticism. They want to avoid that criticism. That's all they're trying to do. From discomfort to comfort. That's what they're trying to do. Okay. So now in this process, the child tends to develop negative habit patterns very early in life if there is this lack of these things. Let's look at it. So the negative habit patterns that children develop early in life is rooted in the destructive criticism that we as parents give our children. Okay. And unfortunately, parents use this kind of a destructive criticism to direct and control the children. Okay, we are thinking that we are training, making the children behave better and do things better. Effectively, the child is just trying to correct this. They are just trying to move from comfort to comfort. That's all. Okay. So this destructive criticism, where what form does it take? Just look back. I'm myself looking back, and there are situations in my. I have done with my own child. We keep doing this. Don't do this. You keep shouting at them. Get away from there. Stop that. How many times have I told you? We beat them. We punish them. All these kinds of things we have been doing to our children at multiple points in our life. Now, the thing is that children do not know that some things can be dangerous. Okay. So, all the child is trying to do is that he is trying to try something new. Okay. Now, if this is the kind of feedback that he keeps getting every time there is a shouting or there is a punishment or a beating, right? The child learns that if I try something new, I am going to get shouted at or punished. This is what he is learning. Okay. And therefore, what is he concluding? It's better not to try anything new. Try, touch, fail, feel, nothing. I should not try anything new. You just think of it. Just think of the kind of spontaneous nature that a child has, even before the age of 5, about right from childhood till the age of about 4 years to 5 years. And just look at how they change once they go to school, for example, right? The whole attitude, that curiosity, that bursting with wanting to find out things, it just become quiet and, they're not curious. Just look at the changes that happen. And this is only because we are continuously reinforcing them and saying that if you try something new, you will get punished or you'll get shouted at. So the continuous message that we are giving them is don't try something new. So we are telling the child, don't take any risk with anything. Better not to try something new, because if I try something new, I will get shouted at or punished, right? So now the child develops two types of what they call negative habit patterns. One is what they call an inhibitive negative habit pattern, the feeling that I can't. You remember we said sometime back that a child, the very nature is I can. Everything the child is just ready to try, just ready to taste, ready to touch, ready to explore. From there, the child has come into this negative habit pattern of I can't. They start feeling small, they feel unconfident, and they feel incapable. Okay. Now, as an adult, this I can't. And remember, see, now today I want you to look at today, if you're saying that I can't do this, let's look at all the I can'ts in your life. Okay. All this has started sometime in your childhood. Somewhere in your childhood, it has started. And as an adult, this I can't can lead to a fear of failure. See, today we have spoken so much about this failure, right? In the earlier sessions, we have spoken about this fear of failure is rooted in our attitude that I can't. Okay. And you think of a child, the child will never have this fear of failure. We have spoken about that. Second thing this I can't leads to is that you have made a conclusion that if you take a risk, it can be traumatic. So don't take a risk. Now, the interesting thing is that this fear of failure that we experience, finds an expression in our body. The moment the first sign of sudden threat or, suddenly, that fear of failure comes, there is a choking in the solar plexus. Just look back in all the situations in your life where you suddenly experienced that a situation has happened and suddenly there is, oh my God, like things may not go the way I expected. Throat dries up, right? Some people experience headaches. There is an urge to urinate for some people. There is something called phlebitis. Phlebitis is basically inflammation in the veins, in the blood vessels. Okay. This is indirectly connected to this varicose veins thing also. Phlebitis can happen for some people. Heart starts beating faster, right? You look at it, the whole front part of the body, different parts of the body, there are things that start happening. Some people, some children, even adults, they start experiencing a stomach ache the moment there is fear of failure. Okay. You remember that all these things are expressions of something that, there is some situation that is happening and there is a fear of failure and all these things start happening for us. Now, we said that children develop two types of negative habit patterns. The second one is the compulsive negative habit pattern. First one, we looked at where the child starts saying, I can't, right? The second is compulsive habit pattern, where the children, this happens when, and please remember, look back and see where we have done it to our own children. When the children receive conditional love, okay, it is not given unconditionally, it is given, taken away, given, taken away. For example, if you don't do this, I will do like this, or if you do this, I will give you this, right? That conditional love, giving, taking away, leads for the second type of negative habit pattern in children, which is a compulsive negative habit pattern. So the child who is spontaneous, who says, I can do whatever I want. I can be whichever way I want. From there, they will move to, I have to do this. I have to do this, or my parents will do, they will not love me, or they will not give me this, or they will beat me or punish me, or whatever it is. Okay. So they move from I can do whatever I want, that spontaneous nature, to becoming compulsive, to saying that I have to do this. I have to do this. Okay. So this compulsive negative habit pattern in the adult, it leads to a hypersensitivity of opinion of others. See, you look back, how many of us, we keep having this problem that we kind of extremely think that, the opinion of others matters a lot. This sensitivity to the opinion of others is rooted in this compulsive negative habit pattern where we have said that I can't do this. I cannot do anything without the approval of others. We have come to that point, right? What if they don't like me? What if aisa ho gaya? What if like that it happens, right? So now there is fear of rejection, there is fear of disapproval, and there is fear of criticism. These are the negative habit patterns that children develop because of the compulsive behavior develops, and that leads to so when it comes to trying anything new or different, they're just paralyzed. Just like, you must have seen, like if you've gone into a forest and you're going in a vehicle and a deer is crossing the path and suddenly the deer comes into the headlights, right? The deer just freezes and stands paralyzed. Okay. So that paralyzed kind of nature happens. Suddenly, oh my God, there is failure that will happen. There is rejection that will happen. You just get paralyzed. So this fear of rejection is something that is called a type A behavior. So what is type A behavior? Type A behavior is, it's like a typical thing that they have found is at work at many places in the workspace in offices, is that there is an obsessive desire to earn the approval of the boss. Okay. So what happens is that this obsessive desire is so high that no amount of approval is adequate. Whatever approval you get, that's not good enough. In other words, you are trying to perform to an undetermined high standard. That's high standard. You don't even know where that high standard is, but you're trying to perform to that high standard because you want to get the approval of the boss. And that, unfortunately, that high standard can never be reached because you don't even know where it is. And the point is that if we want to go beyond this whole issue of this low self-esteem, that means we want to handle our fears. Okay. If you want to become uninhibited and we want to become unafraid, then one mantra which Brian Tracy is recommending is, I like myself. I like myself. So if you recollect, we spoke about the impact of two negative types of habit patterns that are inculcated typically right from childhood. One, which is the inhibitive negative habit pattern, which is developed as a child, and we develop this feeling of I cannot, I can't do this, I can't, I can't, I can't. That feeling gets developed. That is the inhibitive habit pattern. This, as an adult, it makes you feel small, inconfident, capable, and it leads to today what we experience as the fear of failure. And taking a risk is a very traumatic thought. So this is the result of the I can't situation, which has got inculcated in childhood, typically, created by parents, where they keep telling the child, no, you don't do this, don't do that, you shout, you punish, and all that. Okay. Now, this fear of failure, that is the inhibitive habit pattern as an adult on our body. See, it represents, it is in the form of I can't, but it shows up in the body in various forms. We looked at it. All the various health problems that we typically see on the front side of the body, right from choking of the solar plexus. Suddenly, when there is a, suddenly, for example, somebody who's not comfortable about going up on stage and talking, and suddenly you are called up to talk, that choking in the solar plexus, right from that to a headache, to throat drying up, faster heartbeat, stomach ache, the urge to urinate, and phlebitis. Phlebitis is inflammation of the calf muscles, blood vessels in the calf muscles. So this is thing that happens when fear of failure happens, the inhibitive habit pattern. Now, here's the interesting thing. The second type of habit pattern is the compulsive negative habit pattern, which is also developed as a child, and where you are compelled into this thing of I have to, where children are given conditional love. If you do this, then you will get this. So children are given love taken away, love taken away. So in this situation, children develop this thing that no, if I don't do this, then parents will, they will not take care of me, they will not love me and all that. So I have to mode. Okay. So as an adult, this I have to leads to hypersensitivity of the opinion of others. We spoke about this last time, right? And it leads to what we called the type A behavior, where you're obsessed with trying to impress the boss, right? Now, the interesting thing is this, that this type of habit pattern, that is the compulsive habit pattern, the fear of fear of rejection, disapproval, and criticism, it shows up in the body on the backside of the body. There is stiffness in the back, okay? There is a stiff neck, there is low backache, okay? There is a headache in the head, and there is constipation, and there is again the same phlebitis that happens. Now, here's the interesting thing. Now, the thing is that all this is related to, I have to do this, I have to do this. And when there is a tendency of procrastination in us, then this whole I have to just keeps building up, because you're trying to avoid doing certain things for whatever reason, right? So this procrastination tends to aggravate this whole part, this thing. But now look at the interesting part. If the worst situation is where there is a fear of failure, okay, where you keep saying, I can't, and there is a fear of rejection, disapproval, and criticism where you say, I have to. It's a very unfortunate situation where, people find themselves in a situation where they say, I can't, but I have to. I can't, but I have to. I have to do this, but I can't. Such a situation, all this entire thing is happening in our body. The root of all psychosomatic ailments are resting in these two things that we have picked up from our childhood. If we can become conscious about this, there is a way to go beyond it. There is a way where we build up our self-esteem, where we build up our self-image, and you can go beyond these. So this was a fantastic insight that I got. So I thought I should share this with you. And so what Brian Tracy says is, the more you re-emphasize this thing about I like myself, the more self-confidence you build. Okay. And when you tell the children, see, this is a part of our responsibility, that our children's upbringing will bring it up in a way that they don't end up with this kind of problems. So if you reinforce the children such how wonderful people they are, right? And build their self-image, their self-concept and self-esteem in a very positive way. So the result of this is that you will become fearless and unstoppable. Imagine that you are in a state where it is not fear and, I can't do this on one side, and on the other side, oh, I have to, compulsion. If it is not that, if it is fearlessness and you're unstoppable, you will be brimming with self-confidence. And remember that anybody who is brimming with self-confidence is also automatically liked by the people who are around. So it's like this. You imagine, there is a seesaw, right? And right now, there is fear of failure and fear of rejection. These two things, and the whole thing is, we are high on that, right? And the self-esteem is as low as it is possible. Remember that the self-esteem and the fears are on the opposite ends of the fulcrum, right? Now, if we start giving ourselves positive reinforcement, like this, I like myself, then this particular thing can potentially be changed. That the more you reinforce positive reinforcement, your self-esteem will start building up. And when the self-esteem starts building up, automatically your fear of failure and your fear of rejection will come down by itself. Okay. So the key to addressing this, one of the ways to addressing this is to continuously reinforce ourselves with positive reinforcement and build our self-esteem. And one of the mantras that Brian Tracy recommends is just repeatedly telling ourselves, I like myself, I like myself. See, it's like this. If you are able to see it in perspective, it is like this. If I face failure, it does not mean that I am a failure. It just means that the things did work out. That's it. That's all there is. When I face a failure, I am not a failure. It's just that the situation did not work out. Another perspective. There is no such thing as a failure. There is only feedback. These are all perspectives that you can actually take and choose to apply in your life, right? There is no such thing as a failure. There is only feedback. And obstacles, you know, they are not here to obstruct. They are here only to instruct. These are all, it's like you're choosing to look at this whole failure from a different perspective. Yeah. So somebody who is really self-actualized, who is beyond, who has got a very high self-esteem and who's not bothered by the opinion of others, the attitude and the thoughts that he will have is like this. If I face failure, does not mean that I am a failure. Just means that things did not work out. That's all. There is no such thing as a failure. There is only feedback. And obstacles are not here to obstruct. They are here only to instruct. So, in this context of, this perspective that we are not a failure, there is a book that has been written by this lady named Laura Huxley, okay, where the title of the book says it all. It says, "You are not the target." So please remember that when there is a failure, when somebody says no, when any such negative thing happens to us, please remember that you are not the target. Okay. If someone rejects you, either you or something that you are offering, okay, it is not you that they are rejecting. It is the offer that you made they are rejecting. Okay. Remember this. And remember that it is their problem and not yours. If you can get this perspective clear, that somebody rejecting something that you're offering, it is not you they are rejecting, it is just the offer that they are rejecting. One. Second, if they reject it, it's their problem, not yours. Remember, you are not the target. So tell yourself repeatedly, I like myself. This is what Brian Tracy is recommending. When you wake up in the morning, multiple times, just tell yourself, I like myself. I like myself. Right? When you're looking at yourself in the mirror, when you're about to enter into a business meeting, when you're about to enter into something that is important for you at any stage in your day-to-day life, I like myself. Just this feeling of, that just the feeling that you are so complete by yourself just boosts up your spirit, right? So remember that these, last uh, session, we spoke about how our mind can hold only one thought at a time. So either the negative thought can stay or the positive thought can stay. So if you consciously choose to keep putting positive thoughts in your mind, automatically there will be no room for the negative thought. Okay. And remember to tell your children what wonderful people they are. Please let us take the responsibility to build their self-image, their self-concept, and their self-esteem so that they don't go through the mess that we are going through in our own lives. Okay. So repeating this I like myself helps to reinforce this particular, build up the self-image, self-concept, and self-esteem. You keep repeating it till a point that you are just fearless and unstoppable. Means you'll reach a point where you don't have to repeat yourself to yourself anymore. You just become that kind of a person, that you are completely fearless and unstoppable. Remember, we said that it's your birthright to be unafraid and uninhibited. So here we are using different set of words. We are saying that you become fearless and unstoppable. Just imagine what would be your quality of your life, where in your life you're going about with your life, where you're fearless and you're unstoppable. Think of how your business, this particular Industreeva business, anything that you take in your life, anything that is of value to you, think of how powerfully it will happen in your life if you are fearless and unstoppable. So it will be very nice. I want you to do this exercise. We are at the end of the presentation for today. So I want you to write down what one action are you going to take today based on whatever you have learned so far. Please write it down. Okay. You will find that it will have an impact in the way your life happens. So thank you very much.